The past, the present, the future. This is Friday Night's Fright. What the planet is listening to.
Hello, this is Ian Austin, your boy of Friday Night Fright fame, with some big news. And the big news is this. I got a text from Mabel. Those who aren't aware, Mabel was the woman who was helping me out with the Friday night telethon and various things other than that. And then she realised that Blair Witch was real, and she is terrified, despite the fact that it's not real. She is so terrified, and there's been scant communication since. But she has got back to me and said that she will record and come back and record an exclusive introduction. Exclusive being exclusive because this is the only place you'll hear it. Although there are various places you'll hear it, so who knows what I actually mean by that, but that's fine. But she said that she will record an introduction for the podcast in 4 weeks' time. But there's a stipulation. She's told me she'll only do it if the next 3 weeks I cover Blair Witch Project, Blair Witch Project 2 Book of Shadows, and The Blair Witch. And only if I can conclusively prove to her that these aren't real movies. If I do that, she'll record an intro. And you know me, I love challenges. And I don't love these terrible movies anyway. So I'm up to the challenge. So next 3 weeks are going to be commentaries for the Blair Witch movies. It's just a bit of change up for what the original system is going to be. Don't worry, I'm still working on the Scream script. That will be an episode of its own, maybe in 4 weeks. Maybe I'll just do the whole thing from scratch in 4 weeks. But for now, you're going to get 3 weeks of Blair Witch commentaries from me, which can be a bit interesting because I don't remember one of these movies being watchable, and it wasn't Blair Witch Project and wasn't The Blair Witch. So, you know, my opinions may vary on those. But I assure you, and I assure you, Mabel, if you're listening, I don't know why you'd be listening. You should be working on the podcast. But if you are listening, Mabel, I assure you, I will do my best to prove that these movies aren't real. But anyway, that's neither here nor there, because I'll be back in a few seconds to start this podcast after a brief word from our sponsor. Right, and here we go, guys. Get ready. If you've got it set up. If you haven't, pause it, and when you're ready, set up, okay? So, Blair Witch Project 1999... 1 out of 21, 6.5 out of 10 on Amazon. That's not what we're focused on. We're focused on proving this is not a real movie. So I'm pressing play now. Oh shit, I've got to justify them. Don't get sued by Artisan if they're still around. Here we go, Arts and Entertainment. You aren't in businessmen documentaries. If I'm wrong, buzz me on Twitch, Friday Night Fright Project. Friday Night Fright even. Hots and themes, hats and hats. That's nothing. It's just shit of subtitles. No. Well, that's fine. We don't need subtitles anyway. We can turn up a bit. Blair Witch Project. Mabel, it's not real. It's not real, Mabel, for God's sake, you know? Seriously. Oh shit, I just exited that. I need to go back in. I'm drinking Dark Coke, by the way. Yeah, we've started from scratch again, so I'm at 5 seconds in now. Dark Coke's bit of lemon. Again, this is not real. I don't see how anyone can think this be real. Like, in all jokes aside, even in 1999, how the fuck do you think this was real? Like, oh my god, some kids have gone missing. Like, come on. I mean, seriously, I know people are gullible, but Arts and Entertainment, we're not going to release a movie. We're a bunch of people. Right, okay. In October of 1994, 3 student movie makers disappeared in woods near Burkittsville, Maryland, watching a documentary. A year later, their footage was found, and then 4 years later, we made the movie out of it. Like, we won't wait 4 years. Like, bullshit. Oh, it's so realistic. Oh, here's Heather, you know, such realism. I joke, but it's quite effective for what it does. I do like the argument people use that this was real though. Like, oh, it's shot like shit. Oh, it's like, and like, yes, it's a nice atmospheric thing, but I mean, at the same time, it's like atmospheric. That doesn't make it real. Real is about a bit more than that. But I'm going to try and be somewhat impartial, even though I have to admit I don't particularly care for this movie. I admire it. I respect it. but care for it? Not really, to be honest. It's going to make this a fucking hard slog to get through, because this movie is 80 minutes long. We're only less than 2 minutes in. I would say, no, I in recent years I've got more appreciation for movies where not a lot happens and it's more about the atmosphere and things like that. And I get the intent for the Blair Witch, like, it's scary because of the atmosphere and all of that, but at the same time it's like, it's almost like there needs to be a bit more about it than that. It's what I like about VHS movies. VHS basically takes the found principles of something like Blair Witch. It's my Dark Coke, by the way. The found principles of something like Blair Witch, where it's very atmospheric, it's intended to feel real and gritty. And what I prefer about VHS is composed of short segments, so it never gets to the point where you're bored. And I think Blair Witch's power back in the day was if you saw it and caught unawares by it, because in American populace, in mainstream America, this was like, to many, the first found footage quotation mark movie they saw, whereas nowadays if you watch something like this, it's almost quaint. And I can see why people would buy into it. I mean, they bought into Cannibal Holocaust. You know, people thought that was real. You know, and like it actually happened, and it's not because there were enough real elements like the disgusting animal deaths. I've never actually seen it, by the way. I've read the script. Someone sent me the script years ago, back in formation of the internet, when got like Joe Blow and movie scripts and Doug's Script Emporium, stuff like that. Back when scripts online were more of a thing. I mean, I read the script for Cannibal Holocaust, and the script was like, holy shit. Like, I mean, when making a movie, I always assumed something like Cannibal Holocaust would be much like this, where it wasn't tight script, it was more improvised. Like, we have these elements, we know we've got an outline, but we're going to change up bits and pieces. But apparently, I mean, unless the script I read, which is written by a crazy fanboy, which happened, you know, unless that's the case, it was actually very tightly scripted, which was bizarre, because imagine having to write that shit. Imagine having to write, so if you're squeamish, I apologise. A spike goes through a woman's mouth and down her back? Or is it up? I don't know. Something like that. Anyway, this is part of the movie that actually does reasonably fascinate me. The sort of bat story. And the reason this fascinates me is the rest of the movie feels very not movie-like, but, you know, very haphazard, very improvised, which is fine for the realistic nature of it. This feels a tad more scripted. And fascinates me. They clearly put a lot of work, the guys who made this movie, into bat story behind Blair Witch. And one thing the movie does most right, in my opinion, it's my opinion, don't have to get upset about it, it creates a fascinating bat story, which the sequels, even though I like Blair Witch Project 2, Book of Shadows the most, the sequels fuck up mythology so much. The acting's very amateur dramatic though. I guess that's the point for it feeling real. I can see why Mabel would think that this had certain real elements to it. You know, it's sort of like, some of the acting is very naturalistic, low-key, like this little kid who, in this scene, sort of like, don't talk about it, because she's spooked out, because, you know, she doesn't want to hear about witches and shit. Wait, sort the carpet out. I have new bookcases. Oh, and here's this one guy who looks like straight out of Kevin Smith movie, where he's going to suck more dick than Rick Darris or something like that. I don't like the shift between black and white and colour, by the way. I feel like this movie, in a lot of ways, I would prefer that it's all in black and white. I feel like nature of material would work better flat. Yeah, you see kids sort of like, don't talk about Blair Witch, don't. That's a lovely little bit of improv, and that's something which makes it feel a bit more real, you know. That's clearly not scripted. It's just this kid's like, don't talk about Blair Witch. Mum, don't do it. She doesn't want to hear about it. She genuinely looks petrified. Which is kind of fascinating, because it's not acting. You know, the kid's not acting like that. She just doesn't want to hear about fucking Blair Witch. And after 20 years of this shit, I can't fucking blame the kid. Incidentally, right, why wouldn't they make a Blair Witch movie this year, for the 20th anniversary? No, I thought the last one did decently, but they haven't followed up on it at all. I know that one was more of a movie. I think that's what turned people off really. They like the fact that this doesn't. They know people know this is now they know this isn't real, but it doesn't suspend their disbelief. Something that is going around a lot in wrestling at the moment, which is like we know it's not real, but don't tell us it's not real. And people enjoy a move like this because they won't keep such pretense that it was real. And then you get like Paranormal Activity movies, which Paranormal Activity, the first one, I don't think it's a very good movie. I think this is infinitely superior to Paranormal Activity, despite the fact that this is a bit haphazard, a bit rough. But I think it commits a bit more. I think Paranormal Activity wants to feel like a real life documentary almost, but it doesn't have the compunction to actually go distance. And I think this also feels very late 90s, you know? These character archetypes. Although, that's the other thing really. I feel like Blair Witch Project and Matrix were two of the first movies to really embrace that, you need an instruction manual way of making movies. Video games have been doing that for years. Have been doing that for years, where the manual you need to read manual to understand how to play a game and what certain elements of the game were. Movies tried to avoid that. They tried to be a singular experience. But then when Matrix and Blair Witch Project came out, they were sort of like, no, you need to know this to understand this. And at the time I wasn't big on the internet, so when I saw Blair Witch, I was like, it's fine, it's okay, but a lot of the backstory which makes the movie gain prominence isn't actually in the movie, it's online. You have to almost search it out. And at the time I imagine that's quite fascinating for people, it's quite a novelty. And something I actually liked about Southland Tales, which, by the way, Southland Tales is not a very good movie, but it's a fascinating experience to have been there at the time, because you had like Southland Tales, you had graphic novels, you had all the interviews, and when you parcelled all those together, they still make a goddamn bit of sense, but it makes slightly more sense than it would if you hadn't known them. So lots of elements of that movie which are distinctly require an instruction manual. This crazy woman talking about Jesus. I do like the theory that Josh and the other guy, incidentally Josh is one of the characters in my Scream 5 script, so yay. Which I will be going back to, by the way. I just thought I'd do something different. It's Bank Holiday Monday, and I was looking through my options this week, and I thought, hey, why don't we continue the Mabel storyline a bit, It sort of run its course a bit, but, stories. This Dark Coke is amazing. So they're going driving. It's not really fascinating as it was in Once Upon a Time Hollywood, but it's still driving. Things I do for this podcast. I don't think people realise how difficult a commentary like this is. You got to keep people reasonably immersed, and you got to lessen the dead air as much as possible, and just genuinely say stuff. It's not even interesting stuff, it's just stuff. But that's one of the things I like about doing this podcast and scripting and all of that, is it has to be done. And I think lots of times people second guess shit like this. They're like, oh no, I can't say that. Oh no, I can't do this. It's like, look, it's not always going to be gold. Sometimes it's actually going to be a case of, let's get to 80 minutes. And when we get to 80 minutes, we'll be ecstatic and we'll feel a sense of accomplishment. Which is what I do, I get to 80 minutes, I'm like, oh shit, that's amazing. Which is, this isn't easy to do. There's dude bro with a mullet drinking beer or brandy, and he's like, yeah, you want some? And she's like, no. And he's sort of like, take it. She's like, no. She won't take it. She's not going to take it, dude. Now she's taking it. How intriguing. She's sipping alcohol. And there's one thing that's also fascinating about this movie. I'm getting the impression that these actors liked each other very much. which is intriguing because you get the impression they'd be cast because they'd get on. But I wonder how much of that was the director poking at them, try and get authentic reactions, directors even. It's something that's a bit different about VHS. I feel all the other movies that have done found footage have had like really experienced actors and things like that. And this is the only one which really committed to having aspiring actors. People give good performances, but not people hamstrung by having to make certain acting choices or things like that. It's more organic in a way, where it's like we're going to allow you to co-write and co-direct this movie with us. And actually, that's something that does bug me a bit, because I get the impression that they should have had more credit than they did. I can't understand why they didn't, because they won't make this feel like an actual documentary. And now these two dudes talking about coughing rock and shit. And I like the term coughing rock. That's a very, very writery term. Coughing rock. It's that use of colloquial, not even colloquial, use of like, I don't know, allegorical writing, I guess. You're finding best way to describe something. It goes back to Don Darko when she was talking about cellar door. It's a combination of words, literary, a very literary sense. I can't really explain it, but it's something that you do a fair bit while writing. You find what you want to say and then try and figure out what the most interesting way to say it is, and something like coughing rock is actually quite interesting. And now they try and go these two fishermen, these two hillbillies. In fact, these two are probably the only ones that have these like background ones who are proper actors, because they're delivering a lot of exposition and shit like that. And you gotta have relatively esteemed actors to do that. Or people more serious about the craft and just mum holding her kid and the little kid's like, ah. They're driving and we're back to black and white. I really did wish I'd commit. I think this movie would be a lot better if it's completely shot in black and white. I think shift to colour. I think also the age nature of the colour, it dates it quite heavily. And I think going in black and white make it more consistent, because the black and white still looks gorgeous in this movie, really effective. But the colour stuff looks shit. And I get maybe that's point to age the movie a bit. But to me, it just feels, it drags the movie down a long way. I think it's akin to like The Mist, which was the original goal by Frank Darabont, was shooting black and white like an old style horror movie, classical horror movie. And I feel like this being shot in black and white, I don't know, it just, again, I get it's meant to be lived in, but I just feel like none of the colours pop, none of the stuff really pops out, and there's no real need for it being colours. Nothing we need to know that couldn't be discovered in black and white, for example. I also raised the question why they would take black and white cameras, black and white and colour camera each on this expedition. That doesn't really make any sense. That'd be a waste of money, unless that's meant to convey that they're not particularly with it in terms of journalism or documentary making or filmmaking in general, and that they're just sort of winning it as much as they can, which I kind of like in some ways, but in other ways I feel that's a bit of a cheat. And now we get Heather reading from diary entries. That's quite a clever thing actually, to have them by their real names to an extent, or real first names at least, because I imagine it made it a lot better for connecting scenes and editing stuff like that. You didn't have to worry about characters blurring tape by saying Heather, by saying John instead of Jason or whatever. It's very, very legit way of doing it, where you won't worry about actors blurring the tape. Sorry. And they're talking about leaves and shit. Again, it should have just been black and white. They're going the ghost hunting, yeah? The ghost hunting. for the Blair Witch. I always did, to be honest, because these assholes invade. Let's think about this movie. Is the Blair Witch wrong? And by is Blair Witch, if the Blair Witch exists, which this movie kind of plays with a bit, is the Blair Witch wrong for what she does in this movie if she's real? I don't think she is, and I'll say reason why. These kids have heard the myth of what happens in woods from townsfolk. Very convincing myths. They've seen shit. They've seen shit and they've heard shit. And now they go into the woods with no idea where they're going or what plan is, except for we're going to record stuff. Because a nature recording means they have to have some, on some level, they have to have some idea of this might be real. Because if they believe it's complete fake, why record documentary? Oh, you know? It's just, you know what I'm saying? It's like they have to have an idea this is real, otherwise why record documentary? I mean, you can say they want to, you know, they want to make a mocking documentary about it and all of that. But from parts we see, they're very earnest about making this documentary. There's some idea of some parts of this are real. So if some parts of it are real and that's their attitude regarding this, then why the fuck do they go in so half-assed into the woods, you know, with like 3 people? And I get they go in 3 people because that's all the guys who make movie could afford, but you catch my point, right? It's this idea of you are going into woods knowing that parts of this story might be real and that there might be a creepy as fuck ghost witch hybrid, you know, like who responsible for bad shit and kids dying and all of that, you know, and you're going in the woods to antagonise this witch, knowing she has home field advantage. Like, it just seems the equivalent of like, hey man, we think that guy next door, we think, like, imagine like in the city version of this, like where you see down roads, it's like, oh man, that old man red herring, you know, there's rumours he murdered the mayor in his basement and murdered a prostitute in his bedroom. We're going to go into his house because he's out. We're going to go into his house and see what's what. Like, you break into his house and he comes back and he's broken into his house. By American law, you know, your life's forfeit. You know, like, so they did the same thing here. They broke into Blair Witch's woods, and it's sort of like, you know, as far as American law goes, she's justified in whether she does them. You know. And the arguments feel real because they are real, you know. This incidentally, I never want to go fucking. I hate camping. I vaguely remember going a couple of times. I fucking hate it. Look, when you're young adult or late teens, early 20s, that sort of thing, doing shit like this is amazing because it's got all the engine weight and it's great and it's fun, get to see outdoors. But you get older, it's like, you got money, just get a fucking room somewhere. Airbnb that shit. I don't fucking know. Don't go camping. You know, it's sort of like, hey, we want to experience nature. It's like, look, you don't experience nature. People who go camping have tents. That's not experiencing nature. You know? They take as many forms of technology as they can, like tin openers and shit like that. That's not experiencing nature. You really want to experience nature, just go into the fucking woods with as little as possible and go to sleep under a tree. And if you're still alive in the morning, you've experienced nature. But if you're going out, you're going in caravan or tent or some shit like that, congratulations, you're not experiencing nature. You're being a nature hipster. You're not a nature boy, you're a nature hipster. No, you're not experiencing life like people used to. And that's a stupid thing I hate too. Like, this idea of, oh, we're going to experience life like they used to in the old days. Bullshit you are. They didn't have a fucking choice. You think half those people want to sleep in a fucking tent in the middle of nowhere? No, they would love to have had a fucking flat or a fucking hotel room or some shit like that. These motherfuckers were walking from town to town. Had to stop, had to stay wherever they could. It's like Red Dead Redemption. Thinking, you think those fuckers want me to stay in a shanty town fucking middle of nowhere on the edge of water? No, they would fucking love like fucking flat, you know? Like, they stay together having a cess. They didn't fucking want to. Instead, unrelated, I really want to play Red Dead Redemption later on. I love that. Like Red Dead Redemption 2. I love that game, but I haven't had time for a long time. Also haven't had time to stream for a long time, which is annoying. You know, life gets busy, guys. It really does. Christ. I don't even know if I've got any fucking free time this week. It's like, this episode, you know, talks about Mabel and the storyline side and all that. Me doing this is literally because this is the only fucking time I'll get this week to do it. And if I don't do this episode today, I wouldn't get a chance, you know? I had other ideas for this episode. I really did, but this was just all I had fucking time for. Like, these commentary ones, don't get me wrong, I enjoy doing it because they're very rewarding. I mainly do them because, you know, if you sit down and watch a movie and then have to talk about the movie and then add other elements to it, like, that's a long fucking time. And that is the ideal for what I do. But for example, I've had a fucking amazing, like, I had Saturday, Sunday and Monday off. You know, that's fucking amazing. I don't usually get that. So Saturday and Sunday, I just chewed the fuck out and it was epic. So relaxing. I'm so chewed out. I don't sound it, but I'm very happy. I'm happy, guys. You know, there's no oranges here. Trust me. But it's like, you get to enjoy that. And that's lovely. But then you have to make podcasts for the Friday. And I know, it's not the most popular podcast on the planet. You know, a lot of much worse ones get a lot more viewers. You know, but I'm not angry. You know, I do this for me and anyone who fucking listens. Like, no one has to listen to shit. Like, I mean, I got a job that pays my rent, all that shit. This is for fun. You know, like, I do this because I enjoy it because it's a challenge. But any success I get from this is fucking gravy, you know? It's crazy. Anyway, they're all sat in a tent like a bunch of assholes. Who would... Oh... Not even my fucking best friends, the people I consider above me in terms of life, you know, where you get friends or your equals, your best friends, fucking people you aspire to. Not even with them will I go camping. Oh no, they found rots and twigs. Oh shit. Mabel, this is conclude. How do you not believe this is real? Look at the change in fucking colour to black and white, you know? This wasn't edited, this was just released. That's nothing. That's the only thing that annoys me, really annoys about found footage movies. It annoyed me about Paranormal Activity, where the implication they had was this movie was patched together and edited by professional movie makers. It's like, look, you can present this as real, but don't take the piss. I think when you're implying that someone sat through hundreds of hours of this and edited it together into a fully feature-length movie, that's when I call bullshit. That would never happen. You know? That would never fucking happen. I know documentaries are made all the time and shit like that. But they would never take... If some kids disappeared in the woods, in real life, they would never fucking edit their fucking video footage together and release it as a mainstream big budget, not big budget, but mainstream movie to cinemas, like mass cinemas. Like, you'd never get released in 4,000 cinemas opening weekend. You wouldn't do it. Most you would get something like David Fincher's Zodiac, where it was fucking a big budget, all action star cast, cut into as real the story as possible. Although that's based on Robert Graysmith's book, which, incidentally, the Robert Graysmith book on Zodiac is fucking amazing. It's so good. It's probably mostly bullshit, and at points it's downright libel. No, downright slander. But, I mean, libel or slander? Which one? I think it's libel, actually. In print it's libel. But yeah, it's like, it's still a fascinating thing. Instantly, and I know it's probably go against Gren. I'd love to see a fucking big budget remake of Blair Witch Project. I would. I would, and I would. I really would. And I know people will say, but that's bullshit because you would be missing out on these realism of the acting. I'm like, fuck that shit. I want Tom Cruise. I want fucking Tom Cruise to fucking play one of these characters. I want fucking Emma Stone play Heather. I just want Emma Stone to play Heather. And I want fucking, I don't know, fucking Seth Rogen to play the other guy who's not Josh, you know. I want that fucking movie. Like, I'd fucking love that. It just improvise all shit, you know? Improvise insults to each other. That'd be great. That'd be an awful movie, but I mean, like, I don't hate the American remakes of some of these movies. I don't think they're very good, but I think they're fascinating because these originals. Obviously, this was an American movie, but I fucking love a remake for this. Like, you fucking re-release Paranormal Activity with fucking Seth Rogen and Jesus Christ, Tiffany Haddish. That'd be amazing. Like, I'd love that movie. Just have them improvise in 9 minutes or fucking throw water at them or some shit. Even frame it with a movie. Fucking DreamWorks bought rights to Paranormal Activity and they're like, we want to make fucking Seth Rogen and Tiffany Haddish. We want to make them a thing, you know? I mean, that's the other thing that gets back to the movie. Like, I understand why they try and make this shit feel as real as possible. And I get it. But here's what. Sorry, I'm going to lie backwards. I'm going to move pillows. And here's what aggravates me. Here's what really aggravates me. It's just the nature of these people. Like, they're all likable. And I don't subscribe to the theory that you need to make, like, characters in movies likable. You know, they can be unlikable. But you gotta relate to part of them. You know, it's like fucking Jake LaMotta in Raging Bull. It's a gigantic piece of shit. And at no point were you meant to root for him. But at the same time, it's like if most people can relate to that anger, you know, that frustration. Indeed, since like the rise of mental health movement, stuff like that, you watch a lot of these movies and read about a lot of these people and realise that they had a lot of problems, and maybe if they diagnosed earlier in their life, you know, they could have sorted their shit out. But these ones, oh, shut up, you arsehole. It's fucking bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. See that fucking Kenny Omega level acting there. Kenny Omega's a wrestler, by the way. A lot of wrestlers are not very good actors, despite themselves. It might be called performance art, but it doesn't mean that a lot of them performance artists. These characters, I mean, it's sort of weird, like, here's enough strike against the idea of movie being realistic, being a good thing. This is how people would actually act in a movie, in real life. Like, you would get into arguments like this, which were half-formed, and there wasn't a lot of clear-cut, quotable dialogue and stuff like that, and that's fine. But, I don't know, like, I look back at something like The Exorcist, and The Exorcist feels very real, very gritty and lifting, but at the same time, it's still clearly a movie. It's just such a fascinatingly made and written and acted movie that it almost transcends the genre. I don't think this transcends the genre, you know? I think you may say it transcends the found footage subgenre, but I just feel like it's hard to explain really, but I feel like its ambition overrides its reach, if that makes any sense. I feel sorry. I don't know, maybe it's one of those you have to sit in cinema to really appreciate it, although I think elements of it should be appreciated, you know, in general. I would say if you grade on Curve, it's definitely up there with the best fan footage movies, because of its nature and how influential it was. at kicking horror up the arse, because Scream had come out in '96, and Scream was a phenomenal horror movie in every possible regard. But people forget, I think, those couple years after Scream, it was already starting to go back to shit. Fucking Scream 2 was really bad. And here's what I find about Scream movies which fascinates me. The first movie, all the accounts behind the scenes were in the Weinstein brothers, particularly, what's the arsehole one? Not Harvey, the other one. Oh, I can't remember his name. He is a prick too. The other Weinstein brother, it's fucking Larry? Fucking, I don't know. The other Weinstein brother, whatever the fuck his name was. He was an asshole behind the scenes to Wes Craven while making that movie, and a bully, but at the same time they backed off a bit, but when it made money, and they dragged in another writer and shit like that. They don't, here's what really bugs me about Scream. They don't seem to understand simple truth. That movie works because of Kevin Williams' script. That's primarily it. That is a fucking flawless script. Flawless. Everyone else brings something to the table, but that is legitimately, for my money, the best screenplay to any horror movie ever. And I include The Exorcist in that. It is an unbelievable script, an amazing whodunit. And yes, everyone added to it, like Matthew Lillard added to Stu's character, and everyone had bits and pieces. But the core of the script, the tension building, all of that, amazing. Perfection. And then they seek to fuck with script for the next 3 fucking movies, where they keep bringing people in to rewrite Kevin Williamson, despite the fact that he's the guy who wrote the fucking first movie and understands what fucking universe is. I'm writing Scream 5 for fun and for this podcast, and I'm writing my own version of it. I'm not even trying to do a Kevin Williamson script, because there's no point. He is a brilliant writer. But that's more my point. It's such a good script. And when you watch something like this, and it feels very freewheeling, all of that. But it feels freewheeling in a way which different something like Once Upon a Time Hollywood, where that feels like Quentin Tarantino's always got his hand on wheel and knows exactly what he's doing. And while it's taking a long way to get to where it's going, is getting there, in the most interesting way possible. I don't get the impression this is particularly. This is a movie which feels very much, in somewhat nice way, say it feels quite shambolic. It feels like very earnest, very matter of fact, very guided by editing. But again, without that backstory, I don't think this holds up, and I don't think it's much of anything, to be honest. But maybe that's what adds to the real aspect of it. Oh, now they're shouting Heather. And that's also the other point. I get what they're going for, but the constant abuse of Heather feels verbal abuse of Heather feels really fucking uncomfortable nowadays. Really creepy. Really creepy. There's this guy online called Film Theory who does the theories on movies, and he did one where he presented that 2 guys, their plan all along was to get Heather into woods and murder her, which I think is valid, but I don't think that's what they're going for. I just think that's how it comes across, and it is really fucking creepy, which ties into the Weinstein brothers, because they do really fucking creepy human beings where you just stop and think how guys, something like Kevin Smith or even Tarantino, how much bigger they'd be about the fucking Weinstein brothers. You just look at Once Upon a Time Hollywood, and Tarantino's had an amazing career, but you look at Once Upon a Time Hollywood, that man is fucking rejuvenated by not working for the Weinstein brothers anymore, That, he made his best movie without them. And I feel like Kevin Smith, I really wish he would have taken up a chance to really head down the Hollywood path, making shit. I mean, his script for Superman Lives is really, really good. And when he was young, hungry for writing and loved the process proper, man, he was gonna make Green Hornet and then he didn't. It's Dude, like, you know, like, maybe we're failed, but I think life, the whole concept is do what you make, choices you can. You go and live with choices you make, even if you don't understand them. But at the same time, if you're capable of leaping out, leap out. Fucking try. You know, don't sink down to the depths and just do what you always did. You know. Now these assholes are lying down. I'm gonna lie down too. I'm gonna lie down. I'm gonna go on my iPad. I'm gonna. Oh no, talking about maps and creeks and shit. I don't understand geography for this movie, by the way, which I guess is sort of the point, but. Oh, now they realise that they're lost and they've gone missing. Took them fucking long time to realise that. I'm gonna have enough Dark Coke actually. Back in the I'm back. I hope you didn't miss me too much, you know. Gotta do Pissing Woods now. Well, you shouldn't miss me at all. If you've got this movie playing and you're being rapturously entertained, surely, by a man pissing into wood, pissing in water. And remember, the map's gone missing. That's a plot point that'll be brought up later on, surely. This is quite chilling, actually. What a fascinating thing to sit and watch. It's a good old life sometimes. This is an amazing Dark Coat too. See, this one thing, these two laughing. I always love the way, like, innocuous improv can be shaped, you know? It's always fascinating when, like, just random improv can be shaped into a theory or something like that. Because these guys at this point, I get the impression they're just fed up being in woods, but it translates as being fed up heather and all of that. And there's these guys still laughing, and it's fascinating, really fascinating that real life tensions between the actors are coming out in the movie. Quite an effective, like, storyline beat of sorts. Yeah, a lot of these actors reshaped a lot of what happens in this movie, and I get in some ways that's a good thing, but in other ways it's frustrating. And now I find out he's kicked the map into the creek. And now we're getting into this argument. And you have one, was this argument real or not? Like, because it was really just them out of nowhere for a large proportion of this movie, and that must have been quite terrifying. I'm especially in this day and age with so many people who suffer from anxiety. I'm not much better. I'd be fucking petrified if I was in the wood and I was lost. I was on fucking. There's this place in Aberystwyth called Constitution Hill. And I was up there once and I was fucking lost and it's pitch black and I was freaking the fuck out, you know? And that's somewhere been a lot of times, you know? But imagine being somewhere you've never been before and being lost. It'd be shit. I'd be scared shitless, you know? It's an amazing drink. They're really arguing now. They're like, oh, where's the map? He's like, no. This is a good indication for not being real, but feeling real. Because, you know, stuff like losing map, in the Hollywood movie, that would be a very minor scene. to set up a bit of character conflict. In this movie, it's literally not only the whole sort of conflict from this point forward, but it's a point of no return. Even though this isn't a tightly structured movie, that's clearly point of no return. And at the same time, it's a crucial character scene, and also something which some guy took online and made a whole theory about, encapsulates and reworks and reconstructs the entire nature of the movie, reboots it in terms of lack of parlance. But if you can find stuff like that and it reshapes that entire movie, it's what they this writer named William Goldman said once, where he said if in real life a fireman who is told by a superior to leave a burning building, hears a noise on the fourth floor, runs up, kicks the door open, grabs the kid, runs out with the kid outside. That's one of the most heroic things you can ever imagine. But in a movie, that's like the first 5 minutes of Arnold Schwarzenegger's movie. Like, there's nothing special about it. But you know what I mean, where it's like, but in real life, it's not. When movie logic, losing map sucks, but it's not a deal breaker. In real life, that's fucking terrifying. And all this talk of symbols and shit like that, losing map is probably the thing most people would draw upon in this movie for being a horror movie, because if you're in the middle of nowhere and you lose your map and you can't get signal and you don't know where the fuck you are, Jesus Christ, that's fucking... Like, for me, the thing I hate, the thing that really gets me is like fucking vertigo. I'm really high up. I freak the fuck out. If I watch a Mission Impossible movie and Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt is climbed to the top of the ways tourist building and he's hanging off the side, I'm freaking the fuck out. I feel like I feel dizzy when I see shit like that. Like, so that's why I don't watch Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo very often. But it's these real life, somewhat mundane fears which get you. Not finding a bunch of twids and shit. Do 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 do. Oh, bunch of twids. Twiggy twig twig twids. Twiggy twig 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 twiggy twig 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 twig. Oh, you're leaving, are you, Heather? You're leaving? Okay, yep, you're leaving. Okay, Heather, I bought. Now they're screaming impotently. I think they're talking to the directors at this point. They're just pissed off. They're sick. They're upset. Just want to go home. Oh, these guys. Wonder what I'm going to have for lunch today. Oh shit, the Super J Cup's already over. Fucking hell, I'm really behind the New Japan Pro Wrestling. Do 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 do. It's an amazing drink. Oh. Now it's pitch black. And now you wake up night. So here's a question for you guys. Does the lack of romance make it more or less real to you? I mean, it's fascinating, right? I mean, on one hand, there's no shoehorn romance subplot. I think they were originally going to have that, but decided not to. But on the other hand, two guys in woods in 1999 with a woman, one woman. Not necessarily I think that all Americans are into that sort of thing, but I mean, was it ever raised? Were they that respectful of her? I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying like it's something that should be in the movie. I'm saying, is it utterly realistic? I mean, they clearly didn't get on with Heather at all, But I don't know, it's just weird. Like, it just seems to me like if you go for something which was more real, I don't know whether that might be something you'd include. I mean, Hollywood version there, two of these people absolutely fuck. It might be one of the guys in Heather, might be the other guy of Heather, might be two guys. No, I'm not judging. This movie also plays on what you don't see as much as what you do see, which is quite movie-like, because movies, you know, that corner frame could be the most terrifying thing. I think the thing that to me underscores that I don't love this movie, I respect it but I don't love it, is the lack of like really fascinating visuals. I get what it's going for, but I don't think it's anything to latch on to. It's the character stuff. Their attempt for some real mise-en-scène to me backfires to a degree because there's nothing to latch on to. It's like, here's the thing, it's like they're going so much to make some, which I don't think that's their intent. They just want to make a horror movie, but I get the impression that it's aspiring to be more than it is, if that makes any sense. I'm not really. I just prefer hyperrealism. You know, I don't mind realism, but I personally I prefer. It's like I don't mind Kevin Smith movies or Tarantino movies don't sound like people talk, because the way people talk is one. Well, actually, that's the thing. They claim that, but fucking they're like, my entire manner and way I speak and way I act is fucking influenced by TV. You know, so let's not act like TV or movies don't influence people and how they speak and how they act. So, because my fucking inflections and things like that, I fucking grew up watching like it was terrible American sitcoms and good ones. You know, stuff like Seinfeld and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Saved by Bell and Hand Time and California Dreams and USA High and fucking shit like that. So I grew up very American based in terms of that, and that's actually something I got complained about when I was doing writing online, because it's sort of like, you don't sound very English. Your writing and the way you write isn't very English. And sort of like, no shit, because fucking what was I going to do? Watch fucking Biker Grove? Like, why the fuck? And that's the other thing. Like the reason I cite out so many horror movies and watch so many horror movies and shit like that and so much fantasy horror, it's because fucking when I watch like movies, I don't want to watch, I have no desire to watch stuff that's that English, or necessarily stuff which is, you know, or especially when I was younger. I mean, I watch stuff like In Between This Now and I laugh because that's very much like my, and most people in Britain's teen years, very authentic. But you know, who wants to watch fucking miserable fucking shit like Biker Grove or fucking EastEnders or bollocks like that, you know? Not that EastEnders is real, but fucking, if you live in England, you met a lot of fucking people like characters in that show. Like, so I always prefer American-based stuff, and the weirder better, to be honest. You know, it's escapism, and this is escapism of a sort, but to me, it feels the realistic nature of some of the elements of the movie. I don't feel particularly entertained by. It's something I found with like the UK Office, you know, and even US one. It's this nature of cringe comedy or cringe cinema. I don't find that entertaining. I respect it. I think it's definitely art, but I always take something which is a bit slightly broader. You know? Like fucking imagine a fucking British superhero movie. Like you get Iron Man in America. What would it be here? A fucking chav on council estate. Like even when I was writing a webcomic called based on British superhero, I was like, it's still very Americanized, you know, because I don't identify with the stupid idea of Brits where it's sort of like, you know, cup of tea, crumpet, bullshit like that. some guys like Guy Ritchie of Snatch do a really good job encapsulating more Americanized version of British cinema, but I'm sure they did too, but most of it's fucking boring ass shit. So I mean, I'll criticise this movie, but you see how many fucking awful British horror movies have been made here. Most of them are fucking shit. They're really fucking bad. I don't want to be cruel to anyone, but our British horror industry, some of it's fucking woeful. Like, fucking, what was that shitty one I saw of the dude from a fucking The Hobbit? Aidan, whatever his name was. It's fucking rubbish. It's about this woman who people kept breaking into her house and she kept screaming all the time. It's shit. Like, you watch shit like that and then watch stuff the Americans do, like, even fucking VHS, which is so much better. But I think the problem for that is, a lot of our British directors, they get big here and then they go to America, and you can't really blame them, because, I mean, fucking Shaun of the Dead, Simon Pegg and all of those, clearly more Americanized sensibilities. They'll make movies with British themes and themology, but they're more influenced by America than fucking Britain. Our movie industry fucking sucks. Our movie industry is basically people make it here and then they fuck off to America. And really, like I was just saying, I'm blaming them. I'd do it. Fucking, would I? Oh no, I think I'd probably hang around and just make Americanized British movies, but. Like, I can't stress it enough. If anyone ever asks why I don't review some in British movies on podcasts, I don't give a fuck, to be honest. I really don't give a fuck. I'd rather watch this. And I don't even like this very much, but it's like, write what you know. I think a lot of people know Americanized horror movies, and British ones are usually shit and boring and up their own arse and no sense of life to them. And you just think, like, it's not like the Americans have like a fucking pass on writing quotable dialogue and shit. It's just they don't in try and get a British identity for horror movies, a specific British identity for horror. People forget to be entertaining. It's like, I mean, like, for example, I watched Eden Lake, and I roughly enjoyed that. It's watchable, but it was ludicrously over the top, and that's fine. That's what you have to do in horror. But I get the impression that a lot of British horror movie makers don't have the funds or the technology to actually do it properly. I mean, fucking imagine Evil Dead in Britain. It'd be shit. It'd be fucking woeful. But in America, they kick up the arse and they give it some life. And now Heather's being recorded, and she's like, I don't want to be recorded. And this is fucking, to quote wrestling fans, this is a shoot. You know? She seriously looks like, I don't want to be on fucking camera. You know? She looks really pissed off. These two guys are arseholes. So, like, Heather's not especially likable, but they really do. Those two guys are both douchebags. She looks seriously pissed off. Would have been better in black and white. Oh, it's Josh dead by this point. I guess he's dead. I really think in rewatch this movie, I relate so much more with Heaven than these other two guys. Fucking hell, they are just complete douchebags in every possible way. What fucking complete arseholes. This guy is such a dickhead. What an arsehole. Seriously. This is actually a form of abuse. Like, this isn't make movie. This is proper fucking harsh on so many levels. Like, guys, if you're making a movie, don't do this. Don't do this to your female lead. You know, even in concepts of we want to make the most powerful scene possible, don't be this guy. This isn't nice. It really isn't very nice. You know? This is just really fucking horrible. And this is actually one of the things that it's a broader spectrum of horror that irritates me, but I think the treatment of female characters and actresses in horror movies, I think it's fucking shameful. It really is. And way I'll point to that is, you look at Sidney Prescott in Scream, Nev Campbell, who firstly, the amount of hatred she gets for being unable to act, even in serious literary books, is fucking horrific. It's so nasty. It's so nasty. And when you watch the Scream movies, like the first one, great job for acting with that. The rest of them are fucking awful in terms of what in Sydney. Like, they don't give her anything to fucking do. She's constantly portrayed as a victim, right up to the last one. In the first one, she's given a lot to do. In the others, she's fucking portrayed as this victim. She's bossed around all that shit. And it's one of the things when I'm writing my one, I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I literally thought the only way you can continue to make Scream movies, really continue to make them, and like, I want to actually go and talk about the last Halloween movie, because while I think that's really good, they did a really good job, Jesus Christ, like, the whole, like, fucking Laurie Strode's crazy thing really strikes me the wrong way. You know, I found that quite uncomfortable, and I get what they were going for, but no, it's like, I just feel like there's better things to do than that. There's better ways for the character to go down than that. And again, yeah, it's one of the things I'm working on in the Screen 5 script. How I plan to do the Sydney thing in my one was to go to the Colour of Money route. And if you've seen Colour of Money, it's obviously Paul Newman plays Edward Fast Eddie, based on a movie called Hustler. Newman reprising his role from the Hustler 25 years later. So I was going to go flat, and that annoys me because I don't think lots of people put much thought into female characters anymore. You know, it's sort of like very much, you know, fuck it, let's get this horror icon back and just have them do the same thing, slightly different thing they did before. It's sort of like, give people something fucking work with, you know? Oh, Josh has finally disappeared at this point. I thought he'd already disappeared. Well, fuck it. Heather's screaming, like, she's actually really fucking good in this movie. I don't know how much of it is acting per se, but it goes back to the points making earlier, where these are far more props to this movie, because the directors were like, hey, we co-wrote and directed it, and it's all like, no, the actors directed it. You guys were fucking on the sidelines sending them notes and shit. These actors were doing their own fucking performances, you know? I mean, be honest, like, I know they couldn't, but these three should have been fucking credited as co-directors and co-writers, not as fucking, I mean, it's telling. You look at the directors and writers and what their career went to, you know? Like, it's very telling they didn't get any other work. I'm just going to say that, you know, because there's just no way they could translate into a scripted environment after working on something like this. They weren't traditional writers and directors. They got cast to do most of the work, you know. And this is the point where, if this was like fucking written, a lot of this Josh dialogue would be cut out. Or hopefully not always the case. I do like how the movie doesn't sexualise Heather. I find that was very progressive in 1999. You know, I really do think she does an amazing job in this movie. I think she plays a very grating, unlikable character, but the actual acting of all three, acting somewhat in quotation marks, but they all do a really good job. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do. You're going out in the middle of nowhere. You've basically fucking told, make up fucking horror movie narrative, and we'll throw sticks at you occasionally. I don't have much time for the two directors. I think the editing they doing this was amazing, but actual directing and writing, I think it's just woeful, to be honest. I think that, yeah, I it's not hard to imagine why they didn't get more work after this. So I don't. What's there left to say about this movie? Like, I mean, it's just. It just feels lived in and organic and all of that, but it's not. I really don't think this holds up as well as it did back in the day. I know a lot of people say, yeah, but cinema doesn't in general, but I disagree. It might not have the immediate impact, but fucking something like Event Horizon and The Exorcist, they hold up, you know. Generally good movies, they hold up. And I think this, especially after the other two, I think the reason that's fallen down so much is because, you know, it was raised so high. I think it'll be fondly remembered by people who saw it on the opening cinema, but the rest of us, and also people, I think this is probably really, it's two types of audience, I think, for this movie. I think people who don't watch a lot of horror movies probably being fucking kicked sideways by it. Like a lot of people who didn't watch a lot of sci-fi or TV shows were kicked sideways by Inception. And at the same time, I think really hardcore horror fans who saw this opening night in cinemas, think those two have been blown away. I wasn't either of them at the time. I didn't really get into horror till later on. But it's definitely got a place. Why am I talking like movies over? It's not even over yet. They're still pissing around woods. But it's definitely got a place in cinema history. You know. Oh yeah, I'm meant to be doing the storylines, Mabel. Yeah, no, I don't. Is this real? I don't fucking know. I mean, maybe not. It feels real though. You can see why someone would think this was real if they weren't particularly well versed in cinema and didn't work on a fucking horror podcast. I mean, come on, Mabel, seriously. You know, don't be like Heather, Mabel. Don't be like Heather. I love Dark Coke with fruit. This is my favourite drink. I hope Dentist isn't this. I still fuck about in the woods in camera. I don't even know if the movie stopped. It's just gone black. Like, what the fuck is going on? No, apparently it hasn't stopped. We got like 10 minutes left or whatever. 16 minutes left, and he's sort of like, turn the light out, let me sleep. That must be terrifying though. Imagine having to sleep in the woods, to make moving woods for two guys you barely know. You know? Actually, yeah, that's fucking... This one, Heather in real life has fucking balls of stone because... Jesus Christ, it'd be terrifying. Oh look, they found fabric. Oh no. Oh no, but... Is that barbed wire or is it... Oh no, it's bits of fabric connected to a twig. And they're like, oh no. They're fearing that this was caused by a bunch of mischievous cult members. I think someone's saying there's a deleted scene where they mention some cult people in town who'd like to keep up the act of Blair Witch and all of that. Maybe it's not even deleted. I remember seeing it in one version of the movie, but I can't remember it at the moment. The idea of Josh and this other guy, Josh and Mike, I think, being killers, that's a really cool idea actually. I don't think it's true, but it's a really good theory. And you should follow Film Theory Guy on YouTube, by the way. Seriously, it's so good. That he's actually the reason why I'm trying to write Screen 5 for this podcast, because I don't know, it's just I found his videos fascinating, and then I was like, why not fucking do it? Like, I always say I want to do a reboot of sorts to one of these horror movies, and I figured, why not now? No. I love writing. Writing is just, for me, this podcast is fun because it's difficult to talk a lot about movies like this and talk for 80 minutes consecutively. And oh no, they found some more shit in fabric, and oh no, there's blood in his finger. Oh no. I would say this movie's quite effective at pacing out like the shot sequences, not jump scares, but the it parcels out the horrific scenes quite nicely, so never bombard it too many at once. So in that regard, it's quite effective. But then you think how many hours of footage they shot that they wouldn't use because it's pointless. Because it's a very freewheeling structure, and they lucked into a lot of this shit. I would say lucked in. I mean, it's effective manipulation by the actual directors of the movie. Like the core of the character stuff and the core of the movie is shot by these guys completely on their own, and directors will occasionally throw little bits and pieces into the mix. I think it's an interesting way to make a movie. I don't think it's a sustainable way for a long form movie making, but again, she's really good in this movie. She's just incredible performance. Like, to me, Heather saves the movie, and she got a lot of shit back in the day. But when you actually think what she's doing, she's pretty much the main director and main person driving this story forward and character choices and all that. Like, she's weaponizing her real life frustrations into making this movie. And it's one thing that annoys me. It's like their attempts to make this real, it in some ways pisses me off because it undermines how fucking good she is, and the fact that she should have actually. And I'm being fucking serious now. She should have been up for all sorts of awards, but couldn't because they wanted to make this seem real. And that really fucking annoys me on so many levels because she hasn't had that much of a career, and the reason she hasn't had that much of a career is stupid is it real marketing, which yes, got movies make a lot of money, but once it's finished in cinemas, they should have fucking gone, oh, and here's the fucking reason this movie works as well as it did. Here's Heather. Here's a goddamn great actress who bust a fucking ass making our movie while we've sat in back and picked up fucking profit after profit and been praised as directors of the movie when we really were making her do most of the fucking work. No. Now I'm going to go on fucking Wikipedia and see what fucking state her career is in afterwards, because fucking arseholes. Like, it really pisses me off. Fucking so much so. You know, like, hey, I was right, it was Mike and Josh. See what her career's been like since then. Years active 1995 2008. You fucking arseholes. Seriously. She left acting in 2008. Well, that's good. Like, she's doing a good job, you know? Oh, she is nominated for Blockbuster Entertainment Award, Online Film Critics Society Award, and the Worst Actress at Stinkers Movie Award, and one insane category at Golden Raspberry Awards. Go fuck yourselves. Seriously, go fuck yourselves, Golden Raspberry Awards. Fucking douchebags. Fucking dickheads. Seriously, that really fucking annoys me. Like, you fuckers. Oh, she's in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Wow, okay. No, that really fucking annoys me. How fucking dare you? Fucking Golden Raspberry Awards. Oh, it's the Razzies. Oh, yeah. They're not hip anymore. They're really not hip. They never really were, to be honest. I have a book on them, but they're really not. I don't have much time for them, to be honest. I really don't have much time for things like that. It's just, so irritating. Like, fucking Stanley Kubrick's nominated for a Razzie Award for Worst Director for The Shining. For fuck's sake. Seriously. That's so stupid. Like, seriously. So irritating. I I get it's always fun and all of that, and I'm very critical of stuff. But like put it this way, I wouldn't say I didn't like Hereditary, but I would not say Ari Aster made a movie so bad he should get worst director of the year. I would not say that. I'd never say that, because I think movies like this should not be on worst list. You know, it's guy on Twitter the other day is talking about how he doesn't think Ian McGregor's a great actor, and he's talking about the Obi-Wan fucking TV show on Disney Plus. And like, if you don't like his performance as Obi-Wan, that's fine. You know, that's perfectly fine. I get it, but don't. Sorry, hang on a second. But don't like. Sorry, it's turning the fucking Alexa off. Amazon calling all my Google calling all my shit. You know, from my podcast. I don't fucking record my podcast. You goddamn asshole thing. It's just it just really annoys me. So like, to call this woman worst actress is a fucking travesty on so many levels. But underscores how borderline sexist Hollywood is at times. It's like, oh, she's playing an unlikable character, you know. Oh no, she's not likable. These guys are likable, you know. We won't nominate them for this award, you know. We'll nominate her because we don't like her, and we'll give her this award because she's rubbish, you know, because she's a woman. It's like, go fuck yourself, seriously. She's the only thing that makes this movie borderline watchable. It's the only interesting thing about this movie. The only interesting thing this movie contributes to society. In fact, her character is so interesting, she's literally driving force behind Blair Witch, the sequel made 15, 16 years later or whatever. Which, don't get me started on that movie. I will get started on it eventually, but so they found a house, you know, and Rustin Parr's house, although you don't find that out in this movie, concrete. And if you should definitely watch the film theory on Blair Witch, because the geography of this scene is fascinating and how it plays with perceptions, and in fact doesn't really make a lot of sense, and ties in with the theory that Josh and Mike are actually going to murder Heather, you know, which is an interesting theory, but the obviously Blair Witch, the third one, contradicts that. So they do. Was this just a random house they found in woods? Because it's very convincing. I mean, this movie is convincing. It's very, very messed up, very painful, very uncomfortable to watch. I think that's the sort of horror movie you're into. This is like a perfect movie for you. I personally prefer a bit more escapism, you know. Although I didn't like the third one very much either, you know. And like, yes, it's the third one. This is a trilogy. I don't give a shit what anyone says. I'll make a video at some point explaining how it's a trilogy. But, I mean, I can see how someone would think in some ways this is real, you know. But I was never convinced. And that's not to sound hip or cool or anything like that, you know. I'm not hip, I'm not cool. But this is clearly a movie, you know. It serves props for embracing a bit, I guess, and the acting, all of that. But it just, to be mass released, I just don't buy that. And maybe that's me having too much optimism and thinking a studio won't fucking release this shit, because I am quite optimistic, but maybe at some point they would, and maybe at some point we'll actually get a bunch of teens murdered and all of their footage made into literal documentary horror movie. Although we say I've watched a lot of terrible horror movies, and at least this doesn't have Bigfoot rape in it. I mean, fucking hell. It's a hopping between cameras that gets me. Lifting horror. I think that's the best description for it. Lifting horror. Oh no, there goes Mike. He's dropping camera. Heather's screaming is very chilling, by the way. Fascinating when you can make an effect like that. You know? It's like a very cheap effect. You know, she's pitch black and there's fucking Mike in the corner. She's screaming. And she's knocked down. And yes, there'll be a retcon for that in the third movie, Blair Witch. But that's fine. That was Blair Witch. Yep. I'll be back in a second to do my surmise of the movie, so bear with me. And it's time for the outro. So that was a Blair Witch Project Commentary. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I kind of run out of steam at certain points, but I still got throughout the entire movie, so that's good. It's not real. It's not a real movie. I don't see how you can see it's a real movie. But Mabel, that's one down. I got 2 left. I hope you've listened to this and I hope you've understood this isn't fucking real. This is a movie. But that's 33% through your challenge. And I'm going to get through the next 2. And then you can be on podcast. And then people will be able to hear your voice and there'll be proof you're real instead of someone I've made up. So until next week, remember, life is beautiful.